Hello Capricorn, welcome to your special update here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you're watching this reading is meant to find you. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Capricorn, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And look at that. It is your superpower card. I knew there was a reason why I needed to stay in the studio and do this extra reading for you. This is the Devil card. This is the card that rules the sign of Capricorn. It is your power card. It tells me that you are you're functioning as your true self. That you embody this sort of ideal of the Capricorn energy right now. I think you're ambitious. I think that you are hardworking. I think that you are getting to the top of the mountain. I think that your best life is so close. It's waiting for you. Okay? And I think it's Spirit's way of saying, you're doing everything right. Keep climbing the gosh darn mountain. Don't stop. What are you doing? Don't sleep. Keep going. I think you're almost there. This is extraordinary. Okay? To get the power card as the first card, I don't remember the last time that happened, okay, to be honest with you. So this is a very important card. And I think that this is your engine. We have to make sure that our engine is always operating optimally, right? If you're hearing some weird sounds, if it doesn't have the power it used to have, we might need a tune-up, okay? So let's look at some more cards. But this is such an extraordinary confirmation. Yeah, and that really gets me excited. So our next card then is the Libra energy, the Justice card. We have the Nine of Cups. We got the Fool. We've got the Hanged Man. We've got the Three of Wands. Keep doing what you're doing. All systems go, right? This is back to everything's 5 by 5, right? Everything is in the green. Everything is a go. Okay. I think the Libra energy right in the middle is kind of this idea that we might have to we might have some decisions to make. Okay, as we're driving up the mountain, the engine of the car, right, needs somebody to steer the car, and you've got to be able to steer the car and avoid obstacles. But you also need to steer the car maybe to the gas station. Maybe you have to make the decision as the driver of the car to slow down, stop the car, take a nap. But maybe not, right? Maybe this is the idea of we're trying to maintain that straight course right up to the top of the mountain, okay? The Libra energy is about balance. I think the balance, perhaps, if we look at the balance, well, really, let's look at the balance in terms of both the horizontal path and the vertical path. Okay, the vertical path, it's the balance between sacrifice and indulgence, right? Between the suffering and the joy, the fulfillment, the love, the feel-good energy on every plane, right? And this is the happiness. If it's a balance between the sort of suffering and the sorrow and the pain and the sacrifice and then just the sheer enjoyment of life, right? And the balance, too, horizontally between the Fool, having no direction, no autonomy, no say in what's going on. The Fool is just a zero. It is just pure air. The Fool is a feather that's blown by the wind. Balance that with strict control, discipline, virtue. Saying everything I do has an intention behind it. Every movement I make, there's a reason for it. Right? So these are both very opposite. All these vertically and horizontally, very opposite energies. So I think balance is very key to you, right? That you've got to be free and spontaneous and creative, but you need discipline, you need focus, you need a direction, right? You need that virtue. You need the sacrifice. You need to stay humble. You need to you're going to experience pain on this path. But you also need to experience the joy, this underlying satisfaction that you're working hard for a reason, that things are happening in your life for a reason, and that, this is no matter what sort of pain we experience, or what kind of sacrifices we're making for this path, it's worth it. There is an underlying happiness here in your life. And I find this to be extraordinary. And in some ways, we can look at this the devil energy, the goat, as progressing in a certain direction too. Rather than the balance between things, the devil is kind of going from one to the other, going from having no direction in life, having no aim, feeling just kind of listless, feeling like a cork on the ocean, like a feather in the wind, toward having a purpose, toward having virtue, so toward having discipline and confidence, right? And if the devil card, if the goat is climbing up the mountain this way, it's kind of going from a life of self-indulgence, a life of just kind of maybe too much pleasure, right, toward a life of being of service, toward a life that says, I'm sacrificing myself to myself. This then becomes kind of an Odin on the tree energy. So we could look at life, we could look at this reading both ways. And I think that's how we need to do. We're making progress in these directions, but it's also about balancing this sort of the freedom and the spontaneity with the discipline and the indulgence, the feel-good, the self-care, the love, the abundance, the pleasure, with the sacrifice as well. Okay, and to me that feels like it's a balance within a balance, right? It's cool. If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Let's put the rest of our cards on the table here. This is a special reading. 9 of Swords, 5 of Wands, Ace of Wands, 8 of Cups. So I think we see some of the challenges that are over here because, especially with, the 9 of, a 9 of Swords, not the best card, right? It's really difficult to find any kind of light or positive energy in the 9 of Swords. It is there, right? But the 9 of Swords kind of feels like, a life that's bad and it's getting worse. Okay, so it's kind of like this is there's chaos in life, and then to go from bad to worse, right? There's all these poisonous daggers there too, right? So it's like life is already hard enough, and now this has to happen and make things even harder. So I wonder if this is your general energy down here. I wonder if this is saying that sometimes in life we make things harder than they need to be. That we suffer unnecessarily, okay? That life is already hard, and then here we are kind of making it more difficult for ourselves. See, the Hanged Man might be sacrifice, it might be pain, it might be a surrender. It doesn't have to be suffering, it doesn't have to be that. 9 of Swords versus 9 of Cups, I think that's part of the deal too. I think that's what we're trying to make some progress toward happiness. This is what we want to feel inside, not this one. And so I wonder if, since this is your general energy, this is a potential that's sort of within you. I think you know that you can be happy in life. And now that devil, that goat is going to fight no matter what happens, right? To get that happiness, to get that fulfillment, to get that the accomplishment, whatever your life is all about right now. Okay. Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to put Alien Simon Mork Ripley right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the end. Okay. It will tie everything together and give us the confirmation that we need. If you have a prediction, please put it in the comments down below. Let's look around the room again. Major, big cluster of major arcana. Okay. That really, I think, is the driving force for you, is to find a direction for your life, to have a sense of purpose, to to feel as if, you can make the sacrifices in life for the greater good, to get, to get to your ideal self, to get to your best life. I feel like the best life is waiting for you, right? We just sort of have to sort of acquiesce. We have to sort of surrender ourselves, to that devil energy. We have to do so with balance, right? And with a level head, But I really think the Hanged Man is kind of diving into that devil energy. You have to embrace who you are. You have to love who you are, accept who you are. Surrender yourself to yourself like Odin on the tree. And this fool is going to really arrive at that best life. Okay? And of course, we've got a lot of fire clustered over here. And we know that it's going to take a lot of that devil energy is about the fight, about the power, right? About the struggle. And life is going to be a struggle. Life is a struggle no matter what. So why don't we struggle towards something that we love? Why don't we struggle toward living a happy life rather than just staying in our Nine of Swords and struggling just to survive that, right? We don't want to just be in the Nine of Swords and just be a survivor. We want to push ourselves, challenge ourselves, sacrifice ourselves to ourselves, and achieve the very best life that we're capable of achieving. Okay. And this is the only air energy that we have here. And really, this is kind of a mental thing. It's sort of we're suffering mentally, I think, right? Because it's kind of like it's a what if. We talk about the what ifs. It's the I could have been kind of thing, or I don't want to say it's excuses, but sometimes life feels so overwhelming the way it is, we don't feel like we can really do much about it. Okay? It feels like things pile on, right? I'm going to start getting a little misty-eyed. It feels like life can get worse. It feels like the more we strive, the more we struggle, the worse things get. Okay? And so a Nine of Swords is, it's that mentality that is almost given up. It's kind of saying, there's not much more I can take. Okay? And this is right now, it feels like it's your general energy. So I feel like we're having a difficult time motivating ourselves. We're having a difficult time getting up and doing what we need to do. And I think we know that. And so really the only choice, the only option here is to fight. Is to bring the fight. Fight against ourselves. We're fighting against our own negative thoughts. We're fighting against our own sort of negative self-dialogue or negative impression of ourselves. Okay? When you've got a fool back here, the fool, I think, is in the position that it's in. I think represents maybe a life that was easier back in the day, when we didn't have a goal. When maybe it's better to be blissfully unaware. Maybe it's better to be a feather in the wind, a cork on the ocean. We don't have to do anything. I have no responsibilities. I'm not striving for anything. If I'm not striving for anything, I can't get hurt. I can't fall down. I can't be disappointed. I can't suffer. If we're just a fool, complete, zero, empty, nothing can hurt me. And so in some ways, the fool is this, perhaps what we're looking at now in our Nine of Swords. We're looking back at the fool and thinking, the fool doesn't care about anything, and therefore can't lose anything, can't feel pain. It doesn't have a body, right? It's just pure air, right? So it's almost like we're looking back at this time, we're looking back at this fool and thinking, that's such a better way to live, But I think if this was us in the past, I don't think it was a better way to live. I think this is an energy without a direction, without any care in the world, without a purpose, without anything, doesn't exist really. It's sort of a ghost, And I feel like this is something that we chose not to be. I think that your goat energy, your 3 of Wands, your 9 of Cups, your Hanged Man has a purpose. And sometimes when we're on the path, we've chosen a purpose in life, or it chose us, or the path, however it happens. Now that we're on this path, now we're feeling something. Now I feel the weight of my body. Now I feel pain. Now I suffer disappointment. So then we begin to look back and be like, well, it was way better when I just didn't care about anything. But of course, we can't go back to that state. We can't go back to not having a path, to not having a purpose, because, once you have it, you can't just forget about it. So we have no choice but to pursue this with everything we've got. And that's why I've got this cluster of fire energy right here. Your best life's waiting for you. Okay? The 9 of Cups is a card of happiness. You're pursuing your happiness. And if you're pursuing your happiness, it doesn't mean that you have it now. But you're moving in that direction. So either you're pursuing your happiness or you're not. And this is the simple choice. And the goat is a rather simple animal. I love goats, one of my favorite, actually my favorite animals, We take our daughter to one of the local farms that they have here. They got a bunch of goats. She loves feeding the goats, and petting them and stuff, and kind of grabbing their horns and stuff. They're so cute. But anyway, the goat, it's either climb the mountain or don't. It's very simple. It's not as complex as we sometimes make it. There's no choice here but to do it. Thinking about doing it is not doing it. Wishing we were doing it is not doing it. Feeling bad about not doing it, being mad at ourselves for not doing it, is not doing it. Looking at other people who are doing it and then feeling sort of rejected or dejected or depressed or suffering is also us not doing it. The goat just needs to climb the mountain. That's all there is to it. It sounds very simple because it is. It does not feel that way. And this is not meant to minimize your feelings or to take away, the severity of what this feels like. But in essence, it is very simple. This is the only complexity that we have here. We have no other swords cards. And in fact, we've got the Ace of Wands in the position of what you don't want. Why don't you want that? That's all it is. It's just will. You will yourself up the mountain. It is a competition with yourself. We've got this 5 of Wands in the environment. You're not competing against anybody else. Why do you care what your neighbor's doing? You just look at what you're doing or not doing and do what you know to be the right thing. Start the engine, drive the car, right? It's like we're sitting in the car at the starting line. All the other cars have started the race, and we're just sitting there in the car, holding the wheel, like upset. Life is stressful. Life is overwhelming. Maybe we're having a moment, The only thing we have really to fight against is our own inertia. Body at rest tends to stay at rest. A goat that's just grazing on the grass at the bottom of the mountain needs a little bit of a push to say, oh, I'm going up the hill now. Okay? Your best life is waiting for you. The only person in your way is you. Yeah. And this may not be a popular reading, I don't care, but I want to see you get to your goal. This is Capricorn season, right? This is your season. This is your time to shine. So let's work hard. Let's find our balance. Let's find our motivation. Let's stay on the path. Maybe you're not full 9 of Swords yet. Don't get to that point. Your life is full of love and abundance. Physical, financial, mental, emotional, spiritual, creative abundance. Fulfillment and satisfaction. That is in your future. That is what is in store for you. You are sacrificing yourself to yourself. You are surrendering yourself to your destiny. It's like the goat is just climbing up the mountain and is just given up the idea of turning back and going back down. We've surrendered. We've surrendered to the inertia of our own momentum. You know, a body in motion stays in motion, tends to stay in motion. Let's keep it in motion, right? Let's keep ourselves going up the path, which means we have to give up any thoughts of turning around, any thoughts of slowing down. When you're climbing Everest, you don't sit down and rest. No. They tell you, when you don't do that, you're never going to get up again. Okay, you will be an ornament on the side of Mount Everest if you sit down to rest. So we push ourselves, and it hurts, and we keep doing it. It hurts a lot less than what the Nine of Swords feels like, right? And this is that we keep going. We wake up early, go to bed late. We do it. Okay, we sacrifice any of these negative thoughts. We sacrifice any impulse to slow down or to stop. The Three of Swords in the future position, it's obviously your path, your destiny. You want to do this. So then this is us doing it. This is our virtue. This is kind of like you said you were going to do it, and now you're doing it. Okay? And I think you cannot fail. You cannot fail. I think you asked yourself at the beginning, if it was guaranteed that I would succeed, if there was no possibility of failure, what would I do? I think that's how you sort of discovered your purpose, you know? If everything was perfect and nothing was going to be in your way and there was no possibility of failing, what would you do? Okay, now do it. Now do it. And believe that there is no possibility of failing. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything, and it supports the channel, and I appreciate that. Okay? Your general energy, as we said, was the Nine of Swords. This is Mars in Gemini. Okay? Sometimes our mind is going to be our worst enemy. Sometimes it is the doubt. Sometimes it is the internal monologue, that internal chatter convincing us not to do it. We're worried about this, we're worried about that, everybody else. Sometimes we have to be rather strict with our own mind. Mental discipline is what this card really needs. Okay? And it really connects with our Five of Wands, because our worst enemy is us. Our only competition is us. And yes, the body, let's say in this case the goat. The goat is going to do what the mind says. The body is going to listen to the mind. Well, what if the mind is in this kind of a state? Then the body is going to be all out of whack. Okay. So we really have to get a discipline. We really have to get a handle on our own thoughts and the way those thoughts are affecting our pursuit of our happiness. We're not in pursuit of our own misery, right? So the Mars in Gemini, Mars is really taking charge here. Really taking control, taking the wheel, and pushing. Okay. And of course, our the Five of Wands here is that energy. It is how much gas you're giving the car. And I think this is very important too, because it's easier to keep a car in motion at a steady speed. It takes less gas, right? Less energy to keep a car going at a certain speed. It takes a lot more fuel to get a car going from a stop. So it might be like it's difficult to push at the beginning, but once you get in the zone and you're cruising along, it's going to feel a lot easier. Okay? And then our Ace of Wands in the position of what you don't want. I think sometimes we just don't want to admit or acknowledge that it really is that simple. If you want to do it, do it. And do it now. We don't want to feel like it is that simple. We sort of, the mind anyway, I don't want to say we or you, the mind. The mind likes the complexity. The mind likes to kind of wallow in it, right? But the will is just saying, just let me out, just let me go. Just unleash the willpower and I will do it. And sometimes just doing it clears the mind anyway. You know, it's kind of like that runner's high. You know, when you're cruising along, you're not really thinking about much. You know, you have this sort of, it's a release of all of this mental stress and worry and pain and suffering. And then I think with our Eight of Cups, right? The Eight of Cups, I think, is, to me, it feels like a hopefulness. Usually it's a card of hopelessness, right? Where we just feel that there's no way I'm going to get to my Nine of Cups, right? And sometimes it feels like there is a pretty big gap, a pretty large chasm or abyss between the Eight and the Nine of Cups. Because this is a hopelessness, and this is wishes are coming true. Dreams are coming true, right? Feels like it's a big push to get from one to the other. And yes, it may be. But I see the Eight of Cups here as an improvement. That we're seeing that, hey, you know, life's getting better. I'll take an Eight of Cups over a Nine of Swords any day. Okay? I think that the water is rising. The cups are filling up. Things are getting better and better. We're seeing the progress. And we're realizing that we're closing the distance between the 8 and the 9 until we got that 9, until we're living that best life, until we feel like we're right in it. Okay? And this might be the revving up too, where it's, you know, I said it takes more energy to go from a stop to get a car up to speed. This is now the energy it's taking to get the car up to speed. Once we're up to speed and we're cruising along, then we're just sort of dancing around in this 9 of Cups thinking, all right, I'm doing it. I'm going full speed ahead. It feels good. You know, it's still painful and it's still a bumpy road, but it feels good. Now I'm cruising along at 65 miles an hour or whatever it is, 90 kilometers an hour. Or 100, I guess. But up here, it still feels like an 8 of Cups because we haven't quite come up to speed yet, you see? Well, let's look at our mystery card. What do we want here? 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, an Empress, right? We want that big rock candy mountain. We want to feel that we're getting there, that our best life is there. We could see it now. We could see the summit of the mountain. It's in our sights. Land ho, we know we're getting there. And we see that, and it encourages us even more. I'm excited. If you have a prediction for this card, please put it in the comments down below. Let's just take a look. Oh, it is that Empress. Yes, the Empress and the big rock candy mountain, the paradise, the best life is waiting for you, right? At the top of this mountain. And the only thing we have to do is keep climbing. And even if we start to slow down, if it starts to get a little bit more steep, we just keep on that gas. Keep going forward, keep pushing up. Even if it is just a millimeter of progress every day, we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to that Empress energy until we are right there in our best life. Okay? We're not going to get there if we don't start, even if it's just a baby step, right? We have to, we have to grab the wheel. We have to step on the gas. That's the only way to get there. It doesn't have to be huge leaps of progress, right? Maybe that's part of the 9 of Swords. We just feel like, this is such a daunting task, right? To go from here to way over here feels like I can't do it. Well, if we chunk it, if we eat the elephant one bite at a time, then it makes sense. Then it's every day. I said, okay, I made a little bit of progress. I moved an inch today. Hell yeah. That's good. Really, really good. We're going to do an extended reading too. If you want to stick around, there is a link up top. There's a link down below. New readings for Capricorn usually on Thursdays and Sundays. This was a special update. I feel like we need to get something started here. Okay? Be sure to watch both of your readings. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you, and I love you, and we're all in this together.